morning.
Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Reginald B. Cole, one of your Masters of Ceremonies, and I'm a program manager with Stopping the School to Prison Pipeline team within Best Starts for Kids, and an Equity and Social Justice Leadership team member for the Department of Community and Human Services. As a Skyway native, I've dedicated my life's work to serving children, youth, young adults, and families from my hometown and beyond. BSK has allowed me to do just that and so much more as our team works to shift the landscape of supporting our community.
I'm Jessica Tolliner Cafferty, your other Master of Ceremonies. I'm the Child Care Policy Lead for King County and previously managed the Child Care Health Consultation Investment Strategy for Best Starts. I'm also the mom of a 4.5-year-old with another kiddo joining us later this year. And so the work that happens through all of you is near and dear to my heart. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
Today is a culmination of the dreaming we've been doing over the past few years, and it's so great to come together virtually. We're really excited to be with you in person in March, and so much has changed since then.
And we're excited to be moving to this new format to connect and celebrate and learn from the work happening through Best Starts for Kids. Over the life of the Levy, Best Starts has invested in more than 280 organizations and more than 480 programs across King County. Just last year, Best Starts reached over 226,000 children, youth, and families. You all are doing the work that our communities are happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. Our communities are building impact, and we are excited for the momentum to keep carrying this work forward.
We have a lot of exciting programming happening over the next 4 days. Today, we have a virtual gallery walk sessions with the India Association of Western Washington, Kaleidoscope Play and Learn, and presentations from the Capacity Collective, Open Arms, Prenatal Services, and some of our school district partners.
And don't forget to join us each morning for Live with Jessica and Reginald from 9:30 to 9:45. We'll share what's coming up for the day and any important announcements, and time to hang out with.
As a reminder, through the Whova site and app, you can completely customize your summit agenda, check out what sessions you're going to, and choose when and what.
Once again, we'd like to thank you for joining us and welcome Kaya Alice, who has offered to share a land recognition. Kaya is a member of the Nanaimo First Nation and is Filipino and is a mom of 2 children and grandmother to 5.
She is a Kaya with the Inamaka Family Program, a home visiting program that serves Pacific Islander communities. Please welcome Kaya Alice.
Good morning. My name is Alice Olegario, and I'm the daughter of Alipio Mimberi Olegario of Bacnatan, Philippines, and I'm the daughter of Kathleen Margaret Letsis of Nanaimo and Squamish First Nations, Canada. I'm a Kaya with the Inamaka Family Program of United Indians, and I'm honored to have been asked to speak a few words this morning. I'm also a member of the Crazy Dog Society of the Blackfeet Nation. So I would like to acknowledge that we are on traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe, a people that are still here and continuing to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. I thank the Creator for bringing everyone here together as we do this work. We ask the Creator to please guide us in doing this important work and watch over everyone here today and their families. We ask you, Creator, to watch over each and every one of us and keep everyone and their families healthy through the COVID-19 crisis so that we can see many more summers together. Thank you.
Hi, Alice. Thank you very much for the acknowledgement this morning. Before diving in, we have a few other details we want to share with you. First, today, we're celebrating communities building impact and the momentum that we're building. You're all doing amazing work, and we'd love for you to be able to share your experience. We'll be posting on social media using the hashtag BSKSummit, and we invite you to share your post and tag @BestStarts.
We want to thank all of the speakers and presenters who will be here participating this week. And most importantly, we want to recognize all of our amazing community partners.
You do all of the work that moves Best Starts forward, and we're so glad to have you here with us for our first hashtag BSK Summit.
Next, we'd like to welcome King County Executive Dow Constantine. Now serving in his third term, Executive Constantine leads one of the largest regional governments in the United States. His priority is that every person be able to thrive, be economically secure, and contribute to the life of our community. He is focused on meeting two of the greatest generational challenges of our time, building equity and opportunity and confronting climate change. Guiding every initiative is the goal of becoming the most forward-looking, best-run government in the nation.
And Executive Constantine was the driving force behind the Best Starts for Kids initiative, the most comprehensive approach to childhood development in the United States, spanning prenatal support through the teenage years.
Please join us in extending a warm welcome to Executive Dow Constantine.
All right, and if we can start my video, please. There we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with you. Happy, healthy, safe, thriving. Those four simple words capture our vision and our best hopes for the lives of children and youth in King County. I'm committed to a just and equitable county, one where every person has the opportunity to succeed, to thrive, including and maybe especially our youngest residents, youth, young adults. As you will hear over the next several days, we've made extraordinary changes in King County, working together to reach that vision. We began a mission back in 2013 to improve the delivery and coordination of health and human services, to improve access to services, and most importantly, to improve health and opportunity for children, for families, for communities across the region. Resolving inequities of place and of race was a major part of our mission statement from the beginning. In 2015, after months of community meetings and input, King County approved a youth action plan calling for bold action to overcome disparities and to make investments in the health and well-being of children, youth, and families. Many of you here today, many of you participating in this summit were important partners in that early work, and I thank you. We placed on the ballot a measure for the voters to consider, and they resoundingly said yes. Best Starts for Kids is truly groundbreaking. There's nowhere else in this country with a publicly funded and managed child development initiative that spans the life of the child from prenatal all the way through young adulthood. Nowhere else in the nation so strongly focused on community-based and community-led initiatives. We're partnering with organizations who've worked with the county for decades, and importantly, with agencies that have never before received public funding. Since the inception of Best Starts, we have partnered with more than 280 community organizations. We've invested in more than 480 programs, and we have reached nearly 250,000 children, youth, and their families. I am so grateful for you all, for everyone who has made this success possible. Best Starts for Kids invests in the things we want to see in our communities. And simply put, we want to see healthy, happy, safe, and thriving young people. Happy. When young people have pride in who they are, when they have a feeling of belonging and of being valued as part of their community, their self-confidence, their mental health, their well-being are positively impacted. Best Starts invests in programs that give young people opportunities to explore, to grow, to build on their strengths and embrace their own unique identities and abilities. Healthy. Strong minds and strong bodies need more than, as the old ad said, milk. They need home-based programs like nurse-family partnership and parent-child home. They need developmental screening and early childhood development programs. They need child care consultation and training, parenting and peer support, school-based health clinics, behavioral health supports. And those are just a few examples. Safe. Families and youth living in cars or living on the streets are not safe. With our Youth and Family Homelessness Prevention Initiative, we are working to help families stay housed. Our goal is to prevent children from ever experiencing the fear and trauma of housing insecurity or of homelessness. And so far, we've helped nearly 10,000 people stay housed, people who might otherwise have become homeless, by providing rental or other financial assistance and resolving conflicts with landlords, or helping people connect to employment or to connect to education. Thriving. Across the board, we're investing in programs that empower young people with the opportunities and the tools they need to weather the challenges that happen during adolescence and prepare to flourish as they enter adulthood. We've invited and really incorporated youth voice in program design so that young people have a say in creating programs that will work for them. In doing that, we increase the chances that youth will actually like and take to what we implement. Let me turn for a moment to zero youth detention. See, if we're successful in supporting our children from the earliest age, to grow up happy and healthy and safe and thriving, and to support their families in supporting them, we will see far fewer youth involved in the criminal legal system. That is the first and most important step to getting to our goal of zero youth detention, and that will be an achievement we can all celebrate. I am committed to our march towards zero youth detention, to working with you to make that possible. Finally, it is critical to note the times we're living in. A time of great challenge if we seize it, a time of great opportunity. We have these compound crises, a global pandemic, the most serious health crisis in a century, the highest unemployment since the Great Depression, staggering income inequality that has just been even further revealed by this crisis or these crises. And that income inequality has been building now over generations. And we have been able to declare what has been evident for a long time, that racism is a public health crisis. These aren't just words. This is not symbolic. This is a rallying cry. We need to use this moment of disruption, this moment of crisis, this moment of upending old expectations as a catalyst for real change, to create the community we want and need for ourselves and our children. So this summit is coming at a really critical moment. It's an opportunity to listen and learn and share and begin together to plan for the future. This summit is bringing together our region's strongest allies, of children and of youth. And as I said in my State of the County speech a few weeks ago, I will ask voters to renew Best Starts for Kids and to build on our successful work to date and continue to strive to ensure that every child in King County has the opportunity to thrive. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the guiding light behind the implementation of Best Starts for Kids. King County was extremely fortunate to convince a tireless leader in healthy development for children and youth to lead our Best Starts for Kids team. She joined our efforts in the earliest days, although I had known her for perhaps a decade before that as an advocate for open arms, for doulas, particularly for immigrant families, for helping kids and their families get off to the best start in life. And now she's helping us to mold and shape a strategic plan and every step of our implementation. I am proud to call her a friend and to be able to call upon her for advice and wisdom, which she kind of exudes on issues of children and youth. Please welcome the Director of King County's Children, Youth, and Young Adult Division and the true heart of Best Starts for Kids, Sheila Capestany.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Executive, for being here this morning and for that nice introduction. I am thrilled to be at this moment with the summit. I know we were all very excited to see each other in person in March, and that we managed to come together in any way that we could, but just come together in community to talk about Best Starts, to learn about all the wonderful work that you all are doing. I'm just really excited that we are here at this moment, and I'm really happy that you are here with us. So as the executive spoke to, I also want to take a few moments before I go into talking about an update on BSK and sort of where we've been and where we're headed. I just want to take a minute and acknowledge the times that we're in, and right now with the pandemic and with our social uprising. And I want to recognize that the issues and disparities that we see with COVID-19, these disparities and issues have been built into our system from the beginning. The times we're in right now are both acute, with the immediate impacts that we're feeling of the pandemic, and they're chronic, new for this particular moment, but they're the same as they've been for hundreds of years. And it's really important for us as a society and as a government to acknowledge these facts. So further, the social uprising in our community leadership gives us renewed opportunities to be able to address these issues, and we have a renewed sense of urgency. As Black leaders and community members and other people of color have demanded, government must respond to the current crisis and the generations of crisis with a different focus and urgency. So as the executive spoke to earlier this summer, working with Black community leaders, the executive in public health declared racism a public health crisis. This declaration is really our first step in acknowledging the impact of oppression and suppression has had on Black, Indigenous, and people of color, the health and well-being for everyone. In response to COVID, we worked with our community partners to allow greater flexibility with BSK funds so that they could respond in the ways their communities needed them to respond. And as we move forward with planning for BSK renewal, we do so with a deep commitment to our vision of happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. And we do so with a deep understanding of the urgency and partnership that we feel at this moment in time in addressing inequities in our country. So I am going to now try to share my screen. Anyone who knows me knows that yes, I, as the executive said, maybe I'm wise, but my knowledge around IT is not so great. So we're going to see if we can do this well. Kick us off. Let's see. I think this is going to work. Maybe. Whoops. Okay. So what I want to go through now is to address with folks where we've been with BSK, sort of why we started, what was our vision, how we've been doing since we've been there, and a little bit about what comes next. We have said it many, many times already. Our vision for Best Starts for Kids is happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. We had a lot of words in the beginning for what we wanted to do, and over and over and over again, we kept coming back to these 4 ones. So this is really what it is. We want to see our babies born healthy, we want to see our kids thrive, and we want to see our young people grow to be happy, successful adults. So our mission and the ways that we get there is by strengthening families and communities so that the babies are healthy and everyone is able to get off to just the right start. We really go by 4 principles that the whole initiative is based on, and many of you know these. Some of you will know all of this info, and some of you will know parts of what I'm talking about. But we really emphasize that we're looking at promotion, prevention, early intervention, and policy and systems change. So promoting the good things. What is it that our kids really need to thrive? We're talking about preventing the things that get in the way of our children being able to thrive and having other risk factors that may impact them. When things start to go awry, we're talking about early intervention. We get in early and we can wrap ourselves around our children and families to prevent some of the things that may be coming later. And then understanding that all of this, we have direct service for our families and children and our youth and young adults, but they all exist within systems that aren't always designed to help them thrive. And so we have a part of BSK that's about policy and systems change to get us to a better environment and place as a society for young people to be able to grow in. BSK has 5 different strategies, and we're looking at investing early. The research tells us that when you invest in your young people when they are prenatal to 5, that you get amazing results. But the research also told us that you have to keep investing in your young people, or you can lose some of those early gains. So investing early is our prenatal to 5 bucket. We have our sustaining the gain, 5 to 24. We have communities matter, wrapping community around young people and families. And as the executive spoke to, we need to make sure that our young people are safe and our families are safe. And so we have a youth and family homelessness prevention program. And all of that we are wrapping around evaluation and data. A lot of what we've invested in with Best Starts for Kids is really innovative for our communities. And a lot of it is things that our communities have been doing forever. And we are able to assist with some of the evaluation of that to show just the outcomes that folks are reaching. This was a wild ride. As the executive said, we started off really thinking about where we wanted to go with BSK and what a levy might look like in 2014. By 2015, we were ready to think about putting that on the ballot. And so we went out into community and we had a first round of community conversations held that summer. That was prior to the levy passing and a little bit afterwards, where we went out into the community and said, what do you think we should be doing? What is important to you? What are your hopes and dreams for your children? And the beauty of that was that we saw a lot that was unique between the different areas and communities in our county. But we also saw a lot of the same things that were important. And so the way that you see BSK and the way that you've been living it as providers in the last few years really came from community and those ideas of what needed to happen with specific communities and what we needed for us as a county as a whole. So BSK passed in November of 2015, and we formed a Children and Youth Advisory Board that helped develop the actual written implementation plan. They formed in January of 2016. Once we took all that information we heard from those first round of conversations, we as staff went internal. We engaged other people in the county who worked for the county. We had about 100 people doing work groups and trying to figure out and sorting out the community information we had gotten and the research and science that we had about what was also was going to work for our kids. And we wrote an implementation plan. After we wrote that plan, we went back out to community and we said, okay, we asked you, this is what we think we heard. We wrote it all down. Now you tell us, did we get it right? And that was in the spring, right before we sent this plan off to be approved by the council. And we were literally going to conversations in the next morning saying, what did we hear? Did we need to shift anything in the plan? Did we reflect what community is telling us? We made some adjustments along the way as we heard. And then we were able to send that plan off to the council. The council approved the plan in September of 2016 and approved a budget to go with it in November 2016. And we were off and running after that. The vast majority of our work started happening in 2017. And by the time we were sort of had it all done, we had about 17 strategy areas, and most of those have multi-year investments. We heard really loud and clear from community that we needed to be able to invest more than just 1 year at a time. Folks need to be able to plan, they need to be able to launch projects and programs, So most of our investments ended up being 3-year investments and sometimes 2 years. We also had a TA and capacity building. We heard from community during those conversations that we were not, that it was difficult to apply for government dollars. So in addition to all the internal work that we did to try and change our accessibility, we also worked with community consultants who worked with community partners and helped provide TA for applications. So through 2018, when the vast majority of our RFPs went out, more than 1,355 hours of technical assistance was provided to community-based organizations by our community consultant partners. It was remarkable to watch them work, and really remarkable work that came out of it. As we've implemented Best Starts and we have started to report on what we're achieving, we have put our progress into 3 categories. So when you look at our annual reports, which are available online, we also have some hard copies, you will see that everything is framed within the idea of laying groundwork. We're just starting, we're thinking about the RFPs, building momentum, and delivering impact. So as we round out this last year of the levy, almost all of our investments will be at that delivering impact place in our framework. So at the very high level, I'm going to tell you how everything's doing according to each of the different buckets of categories. But on the very high level, in 2019, we invested almost $84 million in King County. We had about 281 community partners, and we are working with 483 new and continuing programs. So investing early, this is our prenatal to 5 in the kindergarten. Overall, within this prenatal to 5 category, our total investments for 2019 is about $40 million, and we had 166 programs within that strategy area, new and continuing. One of the things that was really important to us as we launched BSK was to really be thinking about what is it that we knew in community and hearing from community, what was important as a framework for young people, what they needed to be strong and to reach that happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. We also relied on the research and science that folks have been conducting for years. And I always say, I love research, and I think oftentimes we're just sort of telling people what they already know about what works. So we found that the research that we were doing and the community information that we were doing were a perfect match. So we put together a theoretical framework, or what sort of guides why we're going to invest in the things that we're investing in. So this is our theoretical framework for prenatal to 5. Really, it's talking about increasing promotive and protective factors, so the things that promote health and well-being and that protect young people, that we reduce risk factors, the things that will hurt young people and their families. And simply put, if you increase the good things and decrease the bad things, you will arrive at health and well-being. So some of you may realize as you're looking at where your own programs fit in, you can start to see the from the BSK frame where they fit into our ideas of whether you are reducing risk or increasing promotive and protective factors, or both, in order to achieve this accomplishment. Our prenatal to 5 investments, which is about 50% of the levy, fall into 9 strategy areas. And again, I hope that you see yourself reflected in here. So we have home-based services, which includes all of our home visiting services, community-based parenting and peer supports, developmental promotion and early supports for young people who may be showing some delays in their development, an innovation fund where we had community partners who said, we're not quite a program yet, or we are, but we're not quite sure it's going to work, or we just want to try this project out. And so they became a part of a cohort that was working on that. We invested in our public health direct services, which is services for new parents and babies, mostly what we were doing there. Vroom, which is a wonderful program that is a parent education tool to help learn about developmental needs of young people. Childcare health consultation, because we realize with our youngest that they're not just being cared for by family, although family is the center. There is also the other providers that are around them. Childcare is one of the main places that our children spend time. and need to make sure that those are healthy and safe environments for them. In addition to that, we recognize that in addition to families and childcare, there are other providers that are interacting with and helping our children grow. And so we have a category that we call workforce development that's about training and further professional development for our young people. And finally, as we're looking at sort of parents at the center, the providers that help, there's a system that surrounds that. And Help Me Grow is a way of connecting providers to the system and making sure that there's collaboration and collective support, and that parents and families are getting to the providers that they need to get to. So moving on to Sustaining the Gain, which is kindergarten through college and career, we made about $29 million investments in this category this year. And we have about 289 new and continuing programs. We also have a theoretical frame for that. Again, it's very similar to the P5, only it focuses more on youth. Some of the additional things that we have in here is the promotive and protective factors is really the positive identity development piece and physical health. And how much between 5 to 24, the physical health and the emotional well-being start to intersect to talk about what does health and well-being look like. These are available on our website if you want to actually take a little more time to see what the theoretical frame is. But again, I thought it was important to share with you so that you could begin to see why we made particular programs or strategy areas that were a part of BSK. So there are 9 strategies within the 5 to 24 category. For anyone who read our original plan, which is really big, so if you didn't, I don't blame you. But if you knew what our original frame was, it looked like we had more strategies than what we've ended up with, because we ended up joining some of our strategies together. We heard from community that it made more sense if they were really similar, not to put a bunch of our RFPs out, but to try to wrap more into one RFP so that community partners wouldn't have to be applying over and over with mostly the same information. So we took that feedback to heart and we joined some of our strategies. One of the biggest one that we did this with was to take mentoring, positive identity development, leadership for youth, and healthy relationships and put it under one category called youth development, and gave folks the option of checking a box on which one they were emphasizing in their program or however many they were emphasizing, but it all came under the umbrella of youth development. We have our school partnerships investments, which were RFP'd separately, but really work very nicely together. And that's our school-based health centers, our SBIRT, which is screening, brief intervention, and referral to treatment, kind of a wacky government title, but really it's about working with middle school kids and just talking to them about how they are feeling emotionally and with their mental health, and making sure that we pick up on any red flags for what might be happening for young people and getting the help that they need. Our trauma-informed and restorative practices strategy, and our out-of-school time strategy. We have our family and community connections, which includes our family engagement, healthy and safe environments, and our King County Child Health Improvement Partnerships. Then we have our investments in transitions to adulthood, which is really our 16 to 24-year-olds, which is a lot of education, employment, and some mental health support wrapped into that. And then our final strategies around stopping the school to prison pipeline, recognizing that there is a particular stress on some groups of young folks that are really systemic stresses that are put in there. And so how do we begin to undo some of the systemic issues while providing community supports to young people who've been impacted most by those stressors. Communities of opportunity. This is the bucket that we talk about. Communities matter. And this is a particular program that we work with. Communities of Opportunity is a community-led initiative, and it's supported in partnership by BSK and the Seattle Foundation. So we call it COO. There have been a total investments about $6.97 million and 122 partners within that. And the Communities of Opportunity promotes leadership, influences changes in systems and policies, and centers power within communities. And their key priority areas are quality, affordable housing, the right to be healthy, increased economic opportunities, and strong community connections. We have a youth and family homelessness prevention. And this is really more than one-time rent assistance or other types of assistance. Our youth and family homelessness in, prevention program provides flexible financial support that youth and families can use as they need. And it provides partnership and advocacy in the form of intensive case management and help in that way that help families and youth establish housing stability that lasts. So this is for young people and for families that are at imminent risk of homelessness, not folks who are actually homeless yet. So it's a prevention program. In 2019, we had 3,000 individuals served and a total of 9,226 individuals since the project began. So almost 10,000 people at this point. It's over 10,000. In 2019, 3.8 million invested, and we have 24 community partners. The community partners here are really reflective of the communities that they are serving. So measuring our success. This is really important with the amount of investment that we are making and the amazing innovation and services and programs that you all are providing. It's really important for us to be able to say, okay, but to what impact? Some of you know what our questions are. We talk about how much did we do, how well did we do it, and is anybody better off? So our entire frame is around that. How much did we do? How well did we do it, and is anybody better off? So within the context of all of our evaluation, we are moving our evaluation towards partnership, collaboration, and accessibility. We have collected data in many different ways, and I know you all as providers have collected a lot of data for us. We've worked really hard to try and make that easier. I know that it can be cumbersome sometimes. It's really important that we get that information. We've had learning circles. So all along we've been gathering input from community about how BSK is going, how things are going with their own organizations and with the strategies, and doing continuous improvement based on that. Our evaluation team has done one-on-one consultations with folks. And one of the things that I was most proud of was that we really started to move towards the idea of decolonizing data, which is really centering data collection and analysis within the community instead of an outside group like a government. But we did community cafes to interpret the data by the community so that we had the data in which community said, here are the numbers we found, what does this mean to you? The folks that the data was collected with are the ones who were able to provide that analysis. I am hoping if and when we get a BSK 2.0 that we really deepen the work that we are doing in partnership around evaluation and having it be community owned and community driven evaluation. So the final thing that we want to speak to is the changes that we have been attempting to make internally and making a difference in the way that we do funding. So in 2019, our total investments were almost 84 million. We had over 30 RFPs that we put out between 2017 and 19. Over 500 people were involved in those RFP processes. So our commitment was really to change the way that we do government. And it has been messy, and I know that there are some of you who feel it went really well and some of you who unfortunately really felt the mess of what it was like. But that is what it takes to shift big government bureaucracies, to look at things differently and to engage and partner with our community partners differently. So we shifted the way that we were doing contracting, and we had a shift in the way that we did our RFPs, in which we had a lot of community and community provider involvement in the developing of the RFPs, and then in all of the review and figuring out where we were going to invest with our BSK dollars. So over 500 people contributed and participated in those processes. And then we hoped to continue in the beginning, to continue to be engaged with our communities in different ways throughout the initiative. And bringing Carrie Wade on, who you all know is our community engagement person and has been working really hard on this summit. Carrie has done a fantastic job getting out into community and getting all the rest of us to events and developing ways of really coming together as a community in collaboration around BSK. So we've done online surveys, we've had community cafes, We do summer events and community activities. We held office hours in libraries for a time. Those times may return again when we all get to see each other in person. I'm looking forward to that. And a language community liaison program that was really about being able to provide information and sharing in people's home languages. We have some upcoming community engagement efforts that are really going to be centered around renewal and as we plan for that, what we want to see coming next. We have future listening sessions. We had our first one yesterday, some technical difficulties. We think we're going to be perfect on Thursday. And then we're going to have some that will be coming later in September that will really be geared around, okay, so what's next for BSK and what do we need to be deepening as we look at renewal. There will also be ongoing engagement through our learning communities, events, and opportunities. So before I get to my thank you slide, or I'll go ahead and go to my thank you slide. So that's where we've been, what our years, this 2019 looks like. All of our annual reports are available online. And again, we have them in paper. I know that many of you have relationships with the program managers for your particular strategy. Any feedback, information, questions, you can direct those to them. I'm also really available myself if you want to email me with any particular question that you have about where BSK is. But we really have dug in deep on saying, what does it look like to work with our communities to support our providers so that our providers can help their communities get to that happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. We've really dug in this time of COVID and the pandemic, and we want to continue to do that, to be responsive and to assure that as we move towards recovery, and we will be moving towards there, folks, I know we will, what will that look like and how will BSK be a part of that? And then as we plan for BSK renewal, we're really looking at saying, we invested for the long term in our children. So we are not looking to make huge adjustments in those strategies that I talked about in terms of what we're aiming to do. Any adjustments we have will be about deepening the levy as it is. So what does it look like to do this better? What does it look like to do this more responsibly? What does this look like for us to do it more community driven? And then always at the foundation, what does equity look like? What does it look like if we believe that racism is a public health crisis? What does it look like in the way that we're making our investments and our partnerships and working with the organizations that we will be working with? So that's what I have to say to you this morning. I've enjoyed our time together here, and I look forward to the rest of this summit. I look forward to the rest of this year and working with you all. And I look forward to talking to you again about when we go to plan for hopefully a renewal, what will that look like for us? And how can we make sure that we are doing the best possible work and creating the best possible partnerships between our communities and our organizations and us as your King County government. So thank you all very much. Everyone take care.
Thank you so much, Sheila. It's been such an honor to spend the morning with all of you. Thank you to our wonderful speakers this morning and to all of the great presenters coming up later today and this week.
We look forward to spending time with you this week, and we wholeheartedly appreciate you all for doing the work that you do with our children, youth, young adults, and families. Don't forget to join us each morning from 9:30 to 9:45 a.m. for Live with Jessica and Reginald.
Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the summit.